Chinchy on a Friday, baby. How we doing, man? What's going on?
Fun bag. We used to call it Fun Bag Friday, right?
Fun bag. That's what we used to do. What a guest on Tuesdays
Yeah.
and Fun Bag Friday.
Yeah.
That was like years ago, dude.
Yeah.
Years. It's funny to say years ago. How many episodes are we at?
This I believe is 365 today.
Wow, good for 365, baby.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, pretty legit.
Good
Dude,
for
it's funny
us.
you mention that. I was alerted. I forgot about this. MLB Network launched on January 1st, 2009.
Yes.
So on New Year's Day, this past New Year's Day was the 15-year anniversary of when I produced the very first show in MLB Network history.
Wow,
I'm pretty proud of that.
dude. Hell yeah, you should be proud, dude. You helped start that whole place. That was so cool,
dude. Well, that's what I was actually just going to bring up was I was on Instagram before, and Lauren Shahadi's Instagram. She's got a great Instagram. She's funny, and it's usually clips from her shows, which are very funny too. But she's telling this story to Harold and Matt about how if you put an onion in your sock, have you ever heard this? You cut an onion in half and you put
it
absorbs sickness.
Yeah.
That's not the funny part. Is Harold goes, does it make your feet cry? he is a national treasure. National treasure. I created that show too, by the way. No big deal.
Man,
created that show.
A lot of shows on that place that you helped.
Created a quick pitch. No big deal.
Let's go. No big deal.
You know what I was thinking about? This all ran through my head this morning. Quick pitch, little history lesson, was originally just Sundays with Hazel May. And I don't know if you remember, I don't know if you were on one of these first 2 or 3 shows, but the last hour of MLB Tonight, Monday through Friday, was going to be recorded, and that was going to be the show of record. But you guys, it was like, you see Mitch Williams at 1 o'clock in the morning. He wasn't the sharpest tool in the shed by that hour. And like, it just didn't work. So we took the Sunday quick pitch, and that is now what you see. We were like, we got to do it 5 days a week so that, people in the morning could see the, the end of the late games.
Well, dude, people want to see highlights. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, you tune in. I mean, when I turn on places, I don't think there's, a matter of fact, I don't think there's enough highlights nowadays.
I agree. It's like
it used to be
TV now playing music videos. The sports world is doing the same thing MTV did to the music video.
Exactly, dude. Exactly. You turn it. Yeah, you want to see freaking, Jefferson Starship playing, whatever songs they play. Is that what's the? I want my MTV. I want my MTV. Was that them?
That wasn't. No, that was
Dire Straits.
Yeah.
Dire Straits.
No,
you want to see Dire Straits saying, "I want my MTV."
I want to see the cartoon thing that goes take on.
Exactly. Yeah, you want to see Running Down a Dream. Tom Petty, the guys in the all those.
You want to see a full Yankee highlight, a full
right. That's a great comp, dude. That's a great comp. And now you turn on MTV, you're like another reality show, another this and that. You're like, all right. I want to, that's why quick pitch is so good.
Yeah.
You wake up in the morning as a kid, you're eating your cereal. You want to tune into quick pitch and see the highlights and then go to school. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Like say back in the day, I wanted to see Keith Olbermann and Dan Patrick doing Sports Center highlights and just making me laugh and watching all the highlights from all the sports.
Exactly, dude. Exactly.
It's a new day. You kids these days with your these kids, it's like everything's got to be 30 seconds. It's got to be 30 seconds. If it's not 30 seconds, a kid will throw their phone out the window. They can't take it. Do we sound like old men? What is it? Yelling at clouds?
It's the truth, though, dude. But what's crazy is we're saying it's like this is what everyone was saying back when the black and white TV came out. This is going to be the end of civilization with a radio. End of civilization. TV, color TV. Yeah. And then, with those, you had to carry me at 8 people to help carry you in the big tubes.
Yeah.
You carry the big thing,
God, yeah.
Big box TVs. So it's going to be the end of the world. Then when video games came out, in television, Atari,
this thing, the phone. You call this a dream killer?
Oh, this is the dream killer. But I'm saying we always said all the way up. Now we're at phones and we're like, this is the dream killer apps.
Yeah.
But dude, in 10 years, I'm saying 10 years from now, it's gonna be a totally different world. Yeah. What will it be then? Will it be the Meta goggles that you're doing your Zoom call? We're doing the mayor's office on Meta goggles. I'm not serious. I'm serious. That could happen.
People are going to be marrying their AI robots. That's what's happening.
Yeah, seriously.
All right, well, let's get back to feel good story, man.
Yes.
Polar Bear Pete Alonso has his boy back in town, who you're buddies with, Harrison Bader, right?
Yeah, man. Good for those guys. I
Reunited.
saw Alonzo shot a tweet out there or something saying the Diesel Bros are back. So
Yeah.
they must have they played together at University of Florida, dude. And it
Yeah.
is pretty cool because he was saying, "Hey, back with the orange and blue."
Isn't that
Yeah,
cool? They
Florida,
play.
same colors as the Mets. They're back in it. And
I,
I love, dude. I love. People, some people might not know this, but Bader grew up in Manhattan.
I did not know that.
Yes, dude. He still lives there. So like.
Really?
He's fired up
Oh,
that
that
he's
is
still in New York. Yeah,
awesome.
he loves New York. His family's from New York. He grew up like a Manhattan kid. I always wondered, like, who grows up in Manhattan? I remember one day on the bench, I'm talking to Bader. He's like, "Yeah, I grew up in Manhattan, right down on 145th." When we used to, I'm like, "What?" He goes, "Yeah, I grew up in." I go, "You grew up in Manhattan, not like
Yeah.
on Long Island?" He's like,
Right.
"No, in Manhattan."
I've always been curious of that too. I had a girl I was good friends with who moved onto my block like when we were in high school, and she lived in Manhattan her life, and I'm like, what did you do as like a kid? She's like, parks and museums. That's what you do when you're a kid who
Yeah,
lives in Manhattan. You go to parks and museums.
Parks and Museum.
Probably you're also probably pretty rich, I would say, in some places. If
I
you're
would
living
have to
in like
think. I would have to think. Yeah.
if you're living in Midtown Manhattan, like if you're like Jack Leiter didn't grow up an impoverished area. He was on the Upper East Side with his dad.
Yeah, yeah. Is that where they were?
Dude, this is the craziest story. Jack Leiter's 6 years old, running around in Central Park playing
Oh, I know
baseball,
this
and he
story.
started playing with some kid, and these kids started throwing, and they became really good friends, and they started playing. They were 6, 7 years old.
Yep.
It was Anthony
Timothy
Volpe.
Volpe. It's incredible. What a
Anthony
story.
Volpe and Jack Leiter running around since they were
Dude,
6 or 7 years old together.
it's funny you said that. Did you draw on memories for me now? Because I had a conversation with Volpe's parents, who are two of the nicest human beings in the entire world, and they were talking about Mr. Volpe was telling me that story about how they became friends with the Lighters in like Central Park. Because I was like, "What did you do? Like, how did you raise Volpe those first years?" He's like, well, my wife and I are working downtown. He's like, and
Yeah.
you would just, go walk in Central Park or take a walk. I'm like, that's weird. And then and then they end up going to high school together, right? Del
High school,
Barton.
Del Barton winning the championship, state
Yeah,
championship.
incredible, dude.
Really cool. Mr. Volpe.
Two incredible people too, Leiter and
Yeah.
Volpe. I
Yep.
can't wait till they face off, bro. And the big one
Oh,
coming
dude.
soon. Jack's gonna be there soon, and Volpe will be
Dude,
ready.
I
It'll
have
be
a
awesome.
clip from when I went and did that interview with them when they were in Del Barton, and I asked them that question. Maybe I'll play it next week on our
Yeah,
show. Each guy answered what it would be like Yankee Stadium one day, Jack on the mound, Volpe gets into the box, and they both got definitely got emotional when they answered. I mean, they're buddies since little kids. It's crazy.
that's
Big
awesome.
leaguers.
I love it, dude. I love
Nice.
it.
All right. Speaking of big leaguers, we got the Hammer. John Heyman did a nice little free agent. I calling him Hammer.
Dude, knowing John Heyman, is that really his? Is that your nickname for him, or is that really his nickname? Because
That's
when you
funny.
meet John Heyman, the last thing you think is he's dropping a hammer on somebody.
No. Sherman would hit you with a hammer if you want.
Sherman actually, you'd have a problem with Sherman. He's from Brooklyn. He really, he looks like a little nerdy, but he'll actually probably beat the tar out of you, take you out back. He would fight dirty. Sherman would fight dirty. Like he's scrapping your eyeballs out or something.
Absolutely, absolutely.
You
But
think he's like this journalist? He's like, oh, I'm a Brooklyn brawler. I'm balling out there on the streets and
yeah,
shooting threes, which I bet you he was.
he
So,
was. Yeah,
and Brian Kenny's sneaky like that too. You're like, oh, this guy, Brian Kenny, he'll throw a freaking Irish right on you.
he
You won't know what hit
absolutely
you.
will. He'll
Yeah.
kick you with those cowboy boots he wears.
Yeah,
every
I
day.
mean, he will square off. BK will square off on you. He might
Dude,
get
he
his
was a
butt whipped.
boxer. He wanted
I
to be
know.
he wanted to
I
be a
know.
professional boxer. He was like chief of security at Sears on Long Island before he
Was he really?
Yes, dude. He ran security for Sears, a huge place. Or
Dude,
maybe assistant head. I don't know.
dude, his dad's straight off the boat in Ireland too, and he was like a Manhattan
Yeah, his
police
dad had
chief
like
or
a billy
something.
club cop.
Yeah,
So yeah.
like club cop.
All right,
Oh
some
my god.
baseball players we have not talked about that. Thankful to the Hammer, John Heyman, for reminding ourselves like a guy playing second base. We mentioned Hoskins yesterday at first. How about Whit Merrifield? It's just sitting out there, and so is Elvis Andrews.
Whit Merrifield, don't forget, was an all-star last year, I believe, with the Blue Jays.
Yes, he's been. I mean, he's a stud. Steals bases. He's one of the few guys in the league that steals bases continually. That was interesting. And then we talked about it, man. God, at one point, Gary Sanchez. I swear, I thought he was going to be a Hall of Famer. I thought he was that good.
Dude, he kind of resurrected himself last year, don't you think? Went to the Padres, kind of got things going, was hitting for some big power.
Yeah, I mean,
the one thing he could still do, Chinch, is hit a homer.
Mm-hmm.
He could still hit a big fly for you.
Yeah, last year he played 72 games and hit 19 home runs, dude.
That's what I mean, dude.
A lot.
Yeah.
Who else we got on this list that popped out at me? Teoscar Hernandez.
Don't forget too. He was the guy catching Snell last year, Sanchez.
Ooh.
A lot of his starts. So I'm just saying, people are like, oh, Gary Sanchez is not good defensively. He's good enough. If he can hit you 25, 30 home runs a year in this day and age, dude.
At that position.
If you're back in the day, if you're hitting 200 with 20 homers, you're in the minors.
Mm-hmm.
I always think of a guy named Mike Hessman. Remember him?
Yeah.
Mike Hessman with the Braves, dude, Tigers. I played with him with Tigers, but dude, Hessman would hit 40 bombs a year and hit 240 in AAA.
Right.
Never get caught. Like if Mike Hessman nowadays would be making $20 million a year. No, seriously, dude. He had that kind of power. He probably hit 220 with 35 bombs. He'd be like, hey, great job. So like Sanchez nowadays, it's even weird to say, but that's where the game is. Hey, Gary Sanchez, hit us 210 with 30.
Yeah.
And you're a valuable commodity out there.
Yeah, exactly. Let me rip through a ton of starting pitching that we're not talking that much about. We all know Snell. Everybody's talking about him. Everybody's talking about Montgomery. And by the way, their prices apparently are going higher and higher, and they will cost more than you thought maybe 2 months ago, apparently, from what a lot of the insiders are saying. But here's who you can also get. You can also get Marcus Stroman. You can get Sean Manaea. You can get Brandon Woodruff, who hits too, by the way. Good hitter. And I'm surprised that Clayton Kershaw is still on this list, dude. He's got to go back to the Dodgers.
He's going back to the Dodgers. Is he going to Texas? Is he going to Texas? I just say it. Isn't he from? He's from Texas.
Yeah, he's from Texas.
Dude, can you imagine Clayton Kershaw not in a Dodger uniform?
No, that'd be like
so weird.
That'd be like Jeter on the Padres to me. That's how big that is. Like
so weird, dude. It'd be so weird.
You can't do that. You can't do that. And then again, Stroman. I don't know why Stroman has it. I guess you think everybody's waiting for Snell and Montgomery. Like no.
Oh yeah. Oh, dude. Well, I think Montgomery's definitely waiting for Snell.
Right.
Because I think Snell's going to set the market for a lot of those other guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And
Stroman's still out there. I mean, there's some good arms out there, man.
Yeah, bullpen guys, ready? Josh Hader, we've been talking about.
Right, where's Hader going to land?
Yeah, Jordan Hicks is out there. David Robertson, I mean, he's on the back end of his career, but he knows how to pitch. Wandy Peralta, Adam Ottavino, dude, has one of the nastiest pitches in baseball. When he's on, he's anybody in the bullpen.
Wandy Peralta's nasty too.
Oh yeah,
got great stuff.
It's very interesting how, I mean, we're sitting tight. Everybody's sitting tight, and plus, by the way, there's a whole other influx of Japanese pitchers that are out there right now that are also kind of in the mix for this stuff. Obviously, not at the level.
What is it? Imanaga?
Pull it up.
I might be pronouncing that wrong, but Imanaga, I believe.
I'm gonna pull it up right now.
He's really good too. He's waiting to sign.
Yeah.
Look, he's kind of that next tier guy.
Yeah. Here's another one. The Dodgers are reportedly want star pitcher, Japanese pitcher, Roki Sasaki. There's another. There you go. No matter what it says. 13 years ago. There's 5 or 6 pitchers coming.
Well, listen. One thing about the Japanese pitchers, bro, and facing these guys, man, they have an equalizer pitch in that split. The split finger is like throwing a 4-seam fastball in Japan. I remember facing Hideo Nomo, dude. I have terrible numbers against Nomo. Can you find my numbers against Hideo Nomo?
Hold on.
Dude, he used to dominate me. And I'd be like, I remember times being as hot as I've ever been in my career, and he would just neutralize me with that split finger. He would come up real high release, almost felt like an 8-foot release over the top. it would come down. It would look like a four-seamer, and I swing him in. I remember Jack McKeon one time, my manager in Cincinnati. I came back to the dugout. I was like, "Hey, Case," he's like, "You know, you gotta just lay off that split finger. You know, see it. You know, if it's there, if it's down, lay off." And I go, "Jack, it looks like it's right down the middle at 57 feet. It's there."
Yeah.
As soon as I go to swing, it freaking leaves me like an elevator shaft down the shaft. Here we go. So those, like I said, there's something about when the Japanese pitchers come over here, they do well with that split finger.
9 at bats, 9 plate appearances against Nomo. You were 1 for 8 with Sean Casey had 3 strikeouts and
There you
9
go, dude.
at-bats
3
against Hideo
strikeouts.
Nomo.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Dude, I used to always beat him in wiffle ball. I used to like that
Yeah.
freaking wind up sideways.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Everything he did was real high, though. High wind up.
Yeah.
And the release point was so high. And it was just, like I said,
hard
man,
too, right?
he was throwing, I want to say he was 94, 93, 94, 95.
Yeah, that was something. That was a big deal when he came in.
Yeah, it was legit, dude.
That was, and plus, like with the Dodgers too. It's always the Dodgers.
Dodger mania, bro. We talked about that. Manny, Valenzuela.
Valenzuela.
Yeah.
You remember? I was a
Now Ohtani.
I was a little too young to remember the Fernando mania. Do you remember it well?
Not really. Yeah, it was 1980.
Yeah, it was like 80.
Kind of do. I was 6.
Yes, I didn't really know.
7. I started to look maybe like.
What was like the biggest mania when you were a kid? I'm trying to think. Don Mattingly.
Oh, dude, I loved Mattingly.
Kirby
Will Clark was like Will Clark mania in my house, at least in my mind. In my mind was Will Clark. In Sean Casey's mind, Will Clark mania was.
Yeah, well, here in New York, it was the Mets. There was nothing. There was nothing bigger than Doc Gooden and Darryl Strawberry.
Really?
I'd argue in this town that, dude, there's a great picture of like all the celebrities just used to come out, like the way you see like celebrities at Lakers games.
Yeah.
There's pictures of them with Mike Tyson, and that's Mike Tyson.
I have that picture right there.
You have it, dude? Really? With the 3 of them together?
Let me see if I don't. Hang on.
Can't see it. Oh, there it is. It's up on top, dude. You have it. That's a good one. Is it signed?
Yeah, it's signed.
No way. By all 3 of them?
Signed by all 3, bro. Yeah.
Oh my God. If you guys are just listening, Google the 3 of them. Google
Tyson, Strawberry, and Doc.
Strawberry and Tyson. It's just it's the coolest picture ever. But yeah, dude.
I first off, I know Strawberry, great guy.
Yes,
turned his life around. Really good dude.
Very great guy.
But dude, I played with Doc Gooden. Dude, with the Indians in '98, just spring training. Doc Gooden's the reason I got traded to the Reds. Doc Gooden's the reason. Yeah. Because, dude, I got sent down from camp in '98. And I was going back to Buffalo. I just hit 380. I'm like, what else do I have to do in the minors? But I was behind Jim Thome. You know, it was a numbers game at the end of the day. So I go down. Doc Gooden's getting his last start in before they break camp. So he comes down to AAA to get his start in. Hurts his knee in the 4th inning, dude.
Oh.
Gets taken out, whatever, boom. So we go home from Lakeland on the bus ride. Off the bus, I get grabbed by Mike Brown, who was the pitching coordinator. He's like, hey, Mark Shapiro needs to see you right now. I'm like, all right, let me grab my bag. He's like, no, you can't. You're not grabbing your bag. He needs to see you right now. Then he calls me in. Mark hits the button, the speakerphone. John Hart pops on. Sean, we got good news and bad news. The bad news is you've been traded. The good news is you're going to the big leagues with the Reds. Wow. This has a lot to do with Doc Gooden. You know, just hurt his knee. We need a pitcher. We had to go get Dave Burba. So
holy moly!
Yeah, that's why Doc Gooden getting hurt was the last straw for the reason I ended up going to Cincinnati, because they needed pitching, because Chad OJ had just gone down. Gooden was down, so they were in the place to win now, and they. You know, and I just read a week earlier, they went over the Indians prospects, and I was the only one that was untouchable. Guess not.
Yeah, right. You're always untouchable until you get touched. That's really, dude. That must have been an emotional roller coaster, because you were sad that you're leaving your team, but now all of a sudden you're a big leaguer now. That must have been such a mind bleep.
Craziest thing ever, dude. So Mark Shapiro, you know, obviously so close with Mark, and I, you know, in your mind as a young kid, you think Indians are bust. You're coming up with the Indians. You're going to be. So then I was with 3 guys in that room: Mark Shapiro, Buddy Black, the manager of the Rockies, and Scott Pioli, who was the GM of the Patriots. Not
Wow.
at the time, but he was for years when they won it, right? So it was the
Yeah.
weirdest thing ever because Scott and Mark are good friends. So I stood up, hugged Mark. We both are balling. Buddy Black shakes my hand, gives me a hug, goes, "Hey, Case." He goes, "Listen." He goes, "First time's the hardest, won't be the last." And he was right. First time was the hardest, wasn't the last. Scott Pioli, I don't even know Scott. I'm buddies with him now because of this moment.
Yeah.
We give a big hug. He's crying. I start crying
Oh
because
my
he knows
God.
how close Mark and I are. So I walk out of there, dude. It was like such a weird thing and I remember, who did I see recently, bro? Pat Evans, dude. So this guy I played with in the minors, Pat Evans, great dude. He's now an agent. So I saw him at Reds Fest in Cincinnati. He was representing a couple guys, Christian Encarnacion Strand, right? And so Pat says to Sarah, and I forgot about this. He goes, the last time I saw Case, he was coming out of Mark Shapiro's office, had just been traded, came into the minor league clubhouse because I was down there. I had to get my stuff. And those guys, we had just finished that game. And, when Doc got hurt, they were all getting showered up. I come in, and Pat Evans telling a story. He's like, Case comes in bawling.
Wow.
And he's like, and I remember asking him, why are you crying, Case? He's like, "I'm going to miss everybody. I'm going to miss all you guys." I forgot that, dude. I think the emotion was so big at that time. And then the next day I'm in Cincinnati for opening day, walk in, the first guy sees Johnny Bench. And I told that story. And then naked Pete Harnish walking by with a toothbrush hanging out his butt. And here we go. That was a 24-hour period for me, bro. 24-hour period. And off I went, and then the Reds, my Reds journey began.
Could have been anywhere. There's 27 other teams at that point. And
isn't that incredible, dude?
And that's where you wound up, the Reds.
That's where I went. Yeah, incredible, man. It's divine intervention, big man. Divine intervention.
Yeah, that's why you always got to take your lumps and just see where it takes you, right? The world takes you where it's you got to.
It takes you where it's going to take you. It takes you where it's going to take you, man.
Wow. I just got goosebumps. That is a crazy story. I don't know, man.
Isn't that crazy?
Near like that. I don't know. I didn't even get traded or nothing. I did nothing. I had a boring life. I didn't have a boring life. I had a good life.
And it's also, sticking with our theme for Breakthrough Pro, which we're sponsored by, which starts Sunday with JD and I. Is a perspective. I think that sometimes we tell ourselves stories. And I think initially the story, the neutral event was I got traded. The first story I told myself was the Indians don't want me. I can't believe they're trading me. This is the only place I wanted to play. Cleveland's, the place for me. And I was heartbroken. And then as I started to, be away from it a little bit, I said, I got to change this story because Jim Bowden and the Cincinnati Reds want me. They see value in me. They traded their number 1 starter for me. Cincinnati is one of the greatest baseball cities out there. I'm not going to AAA. I'm going to the big leagues. You got to be, wow, this is incredible. So, within a conversation in my own mind, I was able to take the neutral event of, hey, man, you got traded, and the perspective of the victim, like, oh, they didn't want me. I'm not good enough, all that stuff, to, no, that's not true. The truth for me is, they do. There's a team that wants me, and it's Jim Bowden, and then the Reds, and all these guys, and they stuck their neck out for me, and they traded their number 1 starter. And I think the biggest thing with stories is if you put your belief in that story, it becomes powerful. Until you have belief in any story and anything you're telling yourself, that's where the power lies. So just careful what neutral events are happening, because both of those aren't true.
Yeah.
The truth is I got traded. Neither of those stories is true.
Right.
But when I put my belief in a story, I tell myself, now it becomes powerful and true for me. So I think that's just a great thing in our minds. And the last thing I'll say, it's like a tree. I always say this, it's like a tree. The tree outside right here is a big oak tree. And I ask you, Chinch, what do you think of oak trees? And you go, Case, I love oak trees, man. They stand tall in storms. They got big leaves. They're the strongest trees out there. Man, oak trees are my favorite. And then I say, I can't stand oak trees. I can't stand that they stand big in storms. I don't really like, green leaves and brown and all that stuff. The leaves get all over my yard. I can't stand it. I can't stand oak trees. Well, guess what? That tree doesn't give a crap. The tree is the tree. The truth is it's a tree. It there's a story on either side of that tree.
Yeah.
And the only reason it has power is because I put in belief. I love that. So looking back at all that perspective of me getting traded, I was able to change the story of, man, I'm not good enough. They don't want me to. Man, somebody really wants me. I'm fired up to get to the big leagues. Cincinnati, let's go. So it's cool to think about. So watch
really
where your mind goes. It'll take you where you want to take it.
Yeah. And so keep going. I'll keep putting the link to join this thing. Breakthrough Pro with Sean. You get this kind of stuff, man. I'm telling you.
Breakthrough-pro.com. Join us Sunday night if you can.
There you go.
Or join us. Not if you can, come join us.
That's not a request. That's a threat.
That's not a request. Exactly. That's a threat. We're threatening. Yeah. So,
Nice.
all right, Chinchy.
Have a great weekend.
Have a great weekend, dude. And I'll be doing Breakthrough Pro, the second week of Breakthrough Pro next week from your house.
From here.
I'll be at
From
your
the on-air facility.
I'll be on the on-air facility, baby, the Chinchimino studio in that basement. I'll face in the background, running on my face. Incredible.
There you go. All right,
incredible. All right, man. Have a great weekend. Everybody out there, have an incredible weekend. We'll see you on Monday.